Hello. So, I think the first video we're going to sort of look into is this one video from somebody called Jonathan Cahn, Jonath, Jonathan Cahn. And the reason why I chose to start with this individual's video is because I've read 3 of his books so far. I've completed one. I'm about to complete another one. I've read The Harbinger too. So you can go to Google Harbinger 2. Whoops. This is the one I've read, and we will later, you can go and get this book if you want. But I got it through Audible, and we're going to go through that at some point. We're going to go through the whole book. It's fascinating. So this really got me interested in what on earth and where on earth are we from, how we created, and how we got to where we are today, 11/30/2020, with everything that's going on. The book really points out factual things. I mean, they, obviously feel free to criticize the guy if you want in the book, but no matter how much criticism you want to give him, no matter how much I do not want to believe what the book says, the fact is every single thing that's mentioned in the book, if you research, it's there. It's factually correct. The timing, the people, the events, and these are things that nobody can administer. Nobody can, not even Hollywood can make this up, basically. No, it doesn't matter if you took all the top paid Hollywood producers and you told them to create a movie or a life event similar to what has been happening in the last 100 years. There's no way I wanted to say hell, but let's not say that. There's no way in heck that they'd be able to orchestrate every little thing to the smallest detail that this book outlines. And that's the thing, it's not just this book. He came out with The Harbinger, the first one, and I need to read that. I have The Oracle, I'm halfway. This is a little dry, so it's taken me a long time to finish The Oracle. Now I'm in The Paradigm. The Paradigm is very fascinating as well. It's events that are written, I think, over 2,000 years ago. Like, the exact same events that happened 2,000 years ago are literally, well, not are literally, sorry, literally happened leading up to 9/11. Exact date, yeah, let that sink in. Exact date, exact day, similar characteristics of certain individuals. The things they do is very similar, and it's gonna make sense when you go through the books. If you want to get ahead, feel free to read The Harbinger 2, or I would recommend to start with The Paradigm. The Oracle, I'd recommend after reading 1 or 2 of these books. Anyways, so that's a little context behind why I think it's a good idea to start with this video that we're about to go through. Of course, I am going to open up notes. This is a video that I'm currently recording. I'm going to open up notes, and we're going to write up notes for video 1. There you go. Notes for video 1. So we're going to write up notes based on what we're about to watch, and we're going to research everything that that it says. This is insane, guys. This is just, it's ridiculous. Yes, I've watched this before. That's why I thought it might be a good idea to start. Anyways, so the video, you can literally go on YouTube if you want. As you can see, I'm on YouTube. You can type in the, oh crap, what is it called? The Harbinger Decoded. Yeah, that's what it's called. The Harbinger Decoded. You can literally do that, and then it should be an hour long. So it should be this, the Harbinger Decoded 3 years ago. And this is exactly the very first Harbinger that he created. So I don't know how YouTube is going to, I'm not sure how YouTube is going to take that I'm watching a YouTube video while recording a YouTube video, but if anything, I'll try and figure out how to upload this again if I have to, because this is really important. Okay, here we go. Interesting. Rush 8. The virus, like, the Harbinger 2 literally speaks about the virus. It's insane. Okay, here we go. This is exciting. This is our notes.
Is it possible that there exists an ancient mystery that
got an idea. Why don't I do this?
holds the secret of America's future, with signs from ancient times which have now appeared on American soil, a mystery over 2,500 years old that concerns the future of every American and the future of America itself. So specific that it foretells the actions of American leaders before they take them, and the words of American leaders before they utter them. An ancient mystery that pinpoints the exact date and hours of the collapse of Wall Street. A mystery of 9 harbingers. The prophetic...
Okay, so a history of 9 harbingers, right? So harbingers, what is harbinger? Harbinger. Harbinger, whoops. Harbinger is a person who goes ahead and makes known the approach of another, herald, anything that foreshadows future events, omen, sign. Frost is a harbinger of winter. Oh, warning, sort of like a warning or foretelling or something. What is this anyway? Premonition, prophet, omen, sign. Okay, we got it. So harbinger equal, what should we say? Premonition or prophetic. Well, let's just say prophet, yeah? Prophet or omen or sign. That they all mean sort of the same thing. Okay, just to get a different context, this is from Merriam-Webster. What is something that foreshadows? Okay, it says foreshadows. Foreshadowing. Okay. Something that gives an anti-sign of what to come, one that initiates a major change, / major. Okay, well, we get the point. I think that's enough. Let's go back to Google.
Signs that appeared in the last days of an ancient kingdom, warning of destruction. Now reappearing on American soil. Some in New York City, some in Washington, D.C., some in the form of objects, some in the form of ceremonies, some involving American leaders, even the highest in the land, the sign of the sycamore, the stone of judgment, the ancient words that led to the destruction of an ancient nation, now pronounced on America by a major American leader, a mystery that goes back to the sands of Sinai, which has transformed the American economy and the bank account of every American. America's mystery ground and the prophetic warning it holds. Is God sending a warning to America? Is America in danger of national judgment? And is this mystery contained in a book called The Harbinger?
Okay, it starts off so mysterious, eh? I'm not gonna lie, the first time I watched this, I was like, man, the way they edited this seems so weird. Like, anybody in 2020 and probably 2021. And in the future, watching this will probably be like, man, this is like some sort of mysterious, type video. And they won't know if they should just carry on watching the video or if they should stop the video. Because just from the intro itself, it looks, and the way it's narrated, that voice is sort of like mysterious and all wizardry like, if you will. Give me a second. I need to change some lighting. Okie doke. Alright, let's keep going.
The Harbinger, a book of revelations, ancient mysteries manifesting before our eyes. It has become one of the most influential books in modern culture, causing a stir in Christianity, and yet written by a Jewish man, Jonathan Cahn. A book which the week of its release became a New York Times bestseller, becoming one of the longest-running bestsellers of its kind. A book which has the appearance of fiction on its surface, but which actually contains revelations so stunning that it has changed multitudes of lives and left media personnel.
That is so true. It looks fictitious, right? Fictitious. We can look what fictitious means. Fictitious meaning. So fictitious. It looks fictitious, like it's not real, being imaginary, having been made up. Which is what fabricated means. So it, like, the book does sound fictitious when you read it, and even this video itself seems fictitious, like somebody just had a really wild imagination and decided to create their own backstory of, or their interpretation of the events we're about to see. But just keep in mind, it's not. And we will research why it's not.
And interviewers amazed and speechless.
This is a word from the Lord for America.
A warning, yeah, a clear warning.
This is just absolutely awesome.
This was the Holy Spirit that illuminated this to you.
You have brought clarity to it.
This is an incredible revelation.
It's like God's showing his fingerprints.
A book and a revelation that has even reached the halls of the United States Congress and touched senators, representatives, famous American leaders, and public figures.
Jonathan Cahn, the author of The Harbinger, is with me, and it's one of the most absolutely compelling.
I will note that there are some politicians who are very much aware of this individual. As a matter of fact, he was at Trump's inauguration, and that's a very hot topic right now, I know, with the elections and stuff, but he was there. And I think he also was at Barack Obama's inauguration as well, and he might have spoken there. So keep that in mind, and obviously when you got some time, you can do a little bit more research on this guy.
Books that I've read in the last 5 years, and I was just absolutely stunned.
A message that has taken Cahn to the nation's capital to give the keynote address at the presidential inaugural prayer breakfast. The revelations in the Harbinger opened the way for Cahn to speak on Capitol Hill at a gathering of leaders and members of Congress. The Harbinger contains an account of the giving and receiving of 9 ancient clay seals by a mysterious stranger, each seal containing an ancient mystery that has to be decoded, and upon which rests the future of America. The book has caused a stir throughout the nation. Many believe it is a message and revelation from God, the Word for our day.
Okay, a mystery of 2 nations, and what, 3, 4? Okay, let's just note that down. A mystery of 2 nations. Whoops. 2 nations, and what, 359? Let's just put 4.
What is the Harbinger? The mystery begins over 2,500 years ago in the Middle East, in the nation of Israel, the Northern Kingdom, a nation founded on the Word of God and consecrated to His purposes.
Wait, let's go back.
What is the Harbinger? The mystery begins over 2,500 years ago in the Middle East, in the nation of Israel, the Northern Kingdom, a nation founded on the Word of God and consecrated to His purpose.
Israel. He said Israel and Northern Kingdom. Okay. Northern Kingdom of Israel. Historians often oops, this is sort of annoying. I'll figure out layouts as this channel progresses. But anyways, historians often refer to the kingdom of Israel as the Northern Kingdom or as the kingdom of Samaria to differentiate it from the southern kingdom of Judah. The kingdom of Israel is roughly from 930 BC until when it was conquered by the Neo-Assyrians. So it's not a made-up. Okay, today it's Israel. Looks like it's part of Israel, part of Jordan, part of Palestine, right? And we can actually do this in maps. Israel. Okay, let's zoom out. Where is it? Okay, so there's Israel, right? Israel. This is Africa. This is America over here. This is Africa. Israel. And what does it say? Israel, Jordan, Lebanon. It's today part of Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine. So Israel, Jordan, Lebanon. I do not see Palestine. Where's Palestine? I don't see Palestine. Oh, is Palestine Iraq? Officially, the state of Palestine, largest city. Where is Palestine? What does this image say? Introduction, blah blah blah. Okay, where's Palestine? Iraq. Am I blind or where's this Palestine that they speak of? I do not understand. Okay, there's big word Palestine. Oh, that whole region is Palestine. Is that? Israel, Palestine. Okay, so it's around this region, like north of Jerusalem, right? There's Jerusalem. So they're saying like Palestine is like this area-ish, but they don't say it on the map, which is very interesting here. Interesting. Okay, so we know what Palestine is now. Cool. Northern Kingdom, Palestine, Israel, Northern. So where's that going with this? Was Northern Israel dedicated to God? Because that's what it said, founded on the Word of God and concentrated to His purposes. Okay, so Wikipedia. The land of Israel is a traditional Jewish name on area indefinite. According to the book of Genesis, the land was promised by God. Okay. So the land of Israel, blah blah blah, is a traditional Jewish name of an area of indefinite geographical. Huh. So it is. It's funny that a country, right, is mentioned in the Bible, which the Bible's written so long ago. Specific mentions in Genesis 15. This is like 7,000 years ago plus, but it was already written in Genesis 15. Isn't that crazy? Search Genesis 15. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abraham, do not be afraid, I am your shield, your very great reward. But Abraham says, even Damascus was there, and we just saw Damascus just now, hey? Wow. That's kind of... That gives me a little, like, I just got some... My hair just stood up. That's... Okay, ow. Oh, okay, that hurts. Let's carry on.
Purposes. But the people of Israel turned away from their God and began to drive him out of their lives, out of their public square, out of their culture, out of the lives of their children. They rejected his ways, they broke his laws, they replaced him with idols, and turned to gods of greed, materialism, and prosperity. What they had once known to be sin, they now promoted as righteousness. They now called evil good, and good evil. They descended into the depths of sexual immorality. And as for those who remained faithful to God, and who kept his ways, they were now mocked, marginalized, vilified, and ultimately persecuted.
Okay, what does sexual immorality mean? In the evil ascribed to sexual acts that violate social conventions, sexual immorality is the major reason for the last year's record number of abortions. Wow, type of evil, immorality, iniquity, wickedness. Damn! The evil ascribed to sexual acts. How can I stop being sexually immoral? Being cardinal rather than accusing, having a common goal of avoiding sexual. Make sure you both still agree on boundaries, right? Okay, does God forgive? Paul mentions, okay, is fornication. What's the meaning of immorality? It is evil or bad character or behavior. An example is dealing drugs. Okay, so like being immoral, being bad. Right? And we all know what's good and bad. Like, say you, as a guy, right, I'm a guy. Let's say I go in public and I see this really attractive woman and, you know, I get riled up and I don't consider she's married or anything. I just go up to her and say, hey, do you want to commit sexual immorality or do you want to have a sexual intercourse or whatever? You know, and then let's say she says yes, right? And then we just go around the corner and we do whatever. That's immoral. I don't even know if she's married. I don't know if she has a partner. You know, that it's, you just can't do that. I mean, that's basically what's happening in today's age, which is messed up. But you just can't do that. You know, there's a process. If you see somebody that you like, you go up to them and you speak to them. You take the time to get to know them, right? And if, you know, you guys mutually like each other, you get married, and then, you know, you can do all that. But yeah, anyways, that's just a small example. Let's keep going.
And as for their most innocent, they lifted up their children as sacrifices on the altars of Baal and Molech.
Oh yeah, Baal. This is crazy, right? So Baal, God worshipped in many Middle Eastern communities, especially among the Canaanites, who apparently considered him. Okay, and this is from Britannica, which is a very good source when researching anything. Baal got in many ancient Middle Eastern communities, especially among the Canaanites, as Semitic. What the heck is that? Semitic languages that form a branch of the Afro-Asiatic language. I don't even know. Members of the Semitic group are spread throughout North Africa. I know that stuff. Okay, sort of have an understanding. As I said, most important gods in the pantheon is in Hebrew meant owner or lord, although it could be used more generally. Okay, let's Google What sacrifices were made to? When the prophets of Baal failed to do so, Elijah's God did so, resulting in okay, what did Baal worship? What did Baal? God of fertility, weather, rain, the stele, thunderbolt, Bull-Ram region. The name derives from consistent with Hebrew with a vowel for shame, the latter often being used in Old Testament as a popular god Baal's Lord. Child sacrifice. That is disgusting. Oh man, that. Oh, okay. Oh, I just. Okay, yeah. Okay, we got it. We got it. Ah, that is.
And God called to them and sent them prophets, but they would not listen. Finally, he allowed something to happen, a shaking, a wake-up call, to call them back, to save them from national destruction. It would be the first Harbinger.
What's Harbinger?
But there was another nation, which had also been founded on the Word of God, and dedicated to his ways.
And that nation was America. America was conceived for God's purposes. America was dedicated to God's glory from its very beginning by the Puritans.
Okay, so he's saying that America was dedicated to God, was for God's glory by the Puritans. Let's challenge that. Puritans. Who are the Puritans? So let's draw a line, and this is what, 532 in the video. Okay. Puritans. Who are they? Puritans. The Puritans were English Protestants in the 16th and 17th centuries who sought to purify the Church of England of Roman Catholic practice, maintaining that the Church of England had not been fully reformed and should become more Protestant. Why did the Puritans remember of a religious reform movement known as Puritanism that arose within the Church of England in the late 16th century? They believed the Church of England was too similar to the Roman Catholic Church and should eliminate ceremonies and practices not rooted in the Bible. Okay, so it looks like they wanted to follow the Bible, and they were trying to rid themselves of not following the Church of England, which apparently they were not following what the Bible was saying to do. Okay, got it. So they were just religious people. Why did the Puritans come to America? Good question. The Pilgrims and Puritans came to America to practice religious freedom. Okay, in the 1500s, England broke away from the Roman and created a new church called the Church of England. England had to belong to the church. The Puritans decided to settle in this area and called it Plymouth. Where's Plymouth? Search. Plymouth. Oh, Plymouth, Massachusetts. That's in, yeah. Okay, that's in, we can Google this, Plymouth, Massachusetts place. Go to maps, and yeah, let's go to maps. Oh. How about that? Still exists, eh? Where is this? Show me where this Plymouth place is. Oh. Where? I do not see it. Oh. Oh, it's this red region right here. You know what? Oh, this whole region. So it's on the east of America, right? Massachusetts, Boston, Plymouth. Okay, got it. Alright, so the Puritans came to America for religious freedom, right? Which is what we just read. Puritans, let's religious Let's just write religious people who wanted to follow the Bible, word for word, I guess, right? And so they fled to religious people, let's say from England, because that's what they say. The Puritans had left from England, who wanted to follow the Bible, because that's what it says somewhere over here we read, right? They had origins in America, intended to come to America so they could practice their own religion, purify the church, and okay, right? So they want to follow the Bible, basically. Just summarize. So they fled to Americas, specifically Plymouth. I'm just going to write MA because I don't know how to spell it. And it said 1500 somewhere or something. Oh, here, right. Oh, okay, I don't know what. Never mind.
In fact, they saw America as patterned after ancient Israel.
Oh, so they saw America patterned after ancient Israel. Ancient Israel, right? This is ancient Israel. And we know that ancient Israel was founded, because he just said it was founded, I should have wrote that down on the nose. It's founded after God's word, God's laws, right? So it sounds like he's saying what ancient Israel did, the way it was founded and started, the purposes it was founded and started, it's the same reason why the Puritans came to the United States, or I shouldn't say United States, I'm sorry, to America, to follow God's laws, like the Bible, which is God's laws, basically. Okay.
And they prayed and they consecrated this land to God's purposes.
So they consecrated this land. What? Consecrated definition. So of a church land having been made or declared sacred. Oh, damn. Puritans, let's do this. Consecrated Americas to God's purposes, which is what it says over here. Okay.
And America has been blessed more than any other nation in modern times.
True.
But as with ancient Israel, America too has turned away from God and driven him out of its public square, its culture, and the lives of its children. As with ancient Israel, they too rejected his ways and broke his laws, and replaced him with idols of greed, materialism, and prosperity. What they had once known to be sin, they now promoted as righteousness, and called evil good and good evil. They too descended into the depths of sexual immorality. And as for those who remained faithful to God and who kept his ways, they too were now mocked, marginalized, vilified, and ultimately persecuted. And they too lifted up their children to death, millions of them. And as happened to ancient Israel, there would come to America a wake-up call, the first warning, the first harbinger.
Okay, so it said that America has consecrated our kids. We've killed our kids. So how has America killed kids? I think of one answer. Abortion. What is abortion? Abortion is a procedure to end a pregnancy. It uses medicine or surgery to remove the embryo or fetus. The procedure is done by a licensed and pregnancy is very. They worded it very interestingly. Termination of pregnancy. Abortion is ending, removal, expulsion. Oh, miscarriage. Okay. Okay. That is creepy. Okay. Abortion. That's like literally the one thing I can think of.
The Harbinger reveals an ancient mystery coming true in modern times and manifesting in real life. It deals with facts and events as relevant as today's headlines, but the mystery is revealed through a narrative. In this, Jonathan Cahn follows the biblical use of story, parables, symbols, narrative, and imagery to bring forth spiritual or prophetic truth. The story focuses on a journalist named Noriel, who encounters a mysterious stranger known only as the Prophet. Their meetings appear to be chance encounters, from the observation deck of the Empire State Building to the western terrace of Capitol Hill. In these encounters, the Prophet gives Noriel an ancient clay seal. Each seal contains a mystery. Each mystery must be decoded and unlocked. Each mystery contains a message on which rests the future of America. It all begins with their first meeting in New York City, as Noriel sits down on a bench overlooking the Hudson River. The Harbinger's first mystery is revealed at Battery Park, New York City, with the giving of a seal bearing the image of a wall, with a breach in the middle, a wall broken through. This opens up the mystery of the first Harbinger, the breach.
First Harbinger, the breach. So what is Harbinger? Meaning premonition, prophet, omen, sign, foreshadowing, right? So the first foreshadowing, prophet, tick, thing, omen, whatever. The breach. And the breach is what? 8 for whoever's taking notes. 804. Okay.
The first Harbinger and the first warning sign of national judgment would come in the form of the breach. In the year 732 BC, Israel's hedge of protection was removed. An enemy was allowed to make a strike on the land. The strike was limited, temporary, and contained, one of the blessings God gave to them. It was a wake-up call, a shaking, so that they would turn back to God, that they would change their course and not be destroyed. After the attack was over, they were given a set time of years to return to God, to be restored as a nation, or to enter into judgment. But the people of ancient Israel would not heed the warning or turn back. Instead, they responded with defiance. They made a vow, which appears in Isaiah chapter 9, verses 8 through 10. The Lord...
Okay, they did not listen. They made a vow in defiance. And he says Isaiah chapter, okay, Isaiah vow is Isaiah 9. So he said Isaiah 9, 8 to 9. Okay, vow is...
The Lord has sent a word against Jacob, and it has fallen on Israel. All the people will know, Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria, who say in pride and arrogance of heart, the bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with hewn stones. The sycamores are cut down, but we will replace them with cedars.
So what they're saying is, God, you're not going to humble...
Okay, hold on, let's copy, paste Isaiah 9:10. I just clicked the Lord sent a word against Jacob, and it has fallen on Israel. All the people will know, Ephraim and the inhabitant of Israel. Okay, let's go here. Let saying the pride of and stoutness of hearts. Let's read Isaiah 9:10. Read full chapter. Isaiah 9:10, right? So 9 and 10 is over. Isaiah, wait, what? Isaiah 9, 8, 9, 10, but 8, okay, so 8 through 10. So Isaiah 9, 8 through 10. The Lord sent a word into Jacob and hath lighted upon Israel. Okay, we know Israel, right? And all the people shall know, even Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria. Samaria was northern Israel, which is what we did research on. Remember that saying, the pride and stoutness of heart. Ephraim, what is Ephraim? Ephraim was, according to the book of Genesis, the second son of Joseph and Asenath. Joseph as wife. Okay, so it's another. It's one of the tribe of Israel, so it was one of the tribes of Israel. Got it. And pride of stoutness. The bricks are fallen down, but we will rebuild with hewn stones. The sycamores are cut down, but we will. Okay. I guess I will also, everything that I'm researching, I will include this link in the description below, and you guys can feel free to download it and do your own research. So 732 BC, that's what he said. Israel was attacked. Warning. Let's Google that. Googly goog. Control V. 732 BC Israel. 732. Okay, what does this say? 722, the taking of, according to the Bible, Shalmaneser attacked Israel. Okay. After Hoshea had sought an alliance with King, possibly other, it looked like the Assyrians 3 years to the. Okay, that's one source. Kingdom of Israel. Let's see what this says. Wikipedia, according to the Hebrew Bible. This thing is so annoying. According to the Hebrew Bible, the Kingdom of Israel was one of two successors. Historians often refer northern Kingdom of Samaria to differentiate southern Kingdom of Judah. Some resources in modern archaeology. Okay. Kingdom under the Omers around. The kingdom existed roughly from 70. So it's in a timeline, right? Okay, definitely in a timeline. Biblical narrative, House of Joseph. So we just moved Ephraim. It is also frequently referenced Ephraim. Okay, got it. The United Kingdom of Israel and Judah. Okay, after the death, division, history. But what happened 732 BC? 850 Mishes. I just want to know what happened in 732. I don't need to read this whole thing right now. Who conquered Israel? In 710 to 20 years after the initial deportation, the ruling city of the northern kingdom of Samaria was finally taken by. Oh, they're finally taken. Who conquered Israel? Okay. And the northern kingdom was destroyed by Assyrian. But he didn't say this. He said those he was given a time period, and he said 732. He didn't say 722, right? According to Hebrews, in 732 BC, Pekov, while allied with king of threatened Israel, considered to be contemporary of the Assyrian king to whom he paid tribute. Okay. Damascus falls. Is recorded. He then carried people from the territory of. So it looks like there's some sort of commotion happening. It looks like. I'm trying to find exactly 732. I'm finding 722, which I'm keeping in mind. But the fall of Samaria. Israel's lost king Hoshea was initially in office as a wake up a Syrian campaign ending in 732. Okay, what does this say? Britannica. As you explained, the highlights, the lost king was initially installed in office. Campaign ending said, yet he an unreliable puppet. For when the Assyrian emperor was forced to return to deal with turmoil, Hoshea became looking to growing Egypt at this time. Don't say much. I saw with Britannica here. I like Britannica. Britannica. Okay. So Hoshea also spelled Hosea. Okay, why? So, son of Eli, last king of Israel, he became king. Assyria claimed. Let's ask a better question. What happened to Israel in 732 BC? Instead, the kingdom of Damascus lost its independence and existence, holding carved up into Israel. On the other hand, was allowed to survive, albeit reduced to a fraction of its former size and cut off Israel's northern and the direct Assyrian rule. Oh, so they were somewhat attacked. It looks like. Okay.
We're not going to come back to you. We're going to continue defying you. We're going to continue driving you out of our lives. Yet we're going to do it with even more gusto. We're not going to be humbled by this shaking. We're going to rebuild. We're going to make ourselves stronger.
This vow of defiance holds the key to the Harbingers and would set the course for the nation's judgment when years later the kingdom of Israel would be wiped off the face of the earth. America was now the nation in rapid departure from God. And so the first warning sign of national judgment, the first harbinger, appears. The breach.
The first harbinger appears to America on September 11, 2001, when the nation's hedge of protection is removed. America, for so much of its history, had a sense of invincibility. But on September 11th, that all changed.
The nation's hedge of protection is lifted. A strike is made on the land. As with the strike on ancient Israel, the attack was limited, contained, and then over. It was a wake-up call, but there would be no return to God, no spiritual revival. In fact, in the years since 9/11, America would grow even farther from God, much farther than before. And in the wake of 9/11, America would take the same steps taken by ancient Israel. The ancient judgment drama would be replayed by a modern nation, and the biblical harbingers of a nation under judgment would begin to manifest.
Oh boy. The Masters of Terror. Okay, let's write that. Masters of Terror. This made a vow they did not listen, said time to. Okay, we got that. So now we're going to the Masters of Terror, and this is 11 minutes.
The second harbinger is revealed as Noriel encounters the prophet in the department.
Oh, second harbinger. What? Okay. Masters of Terror. Second harbinger.
Of Near Eastern antiquities in the Metropolitan Museum, and Noriel seeks to unlock a seal with the images of a strange-looking ancient people. The mystery of the second harbinger is that of the terrorist. The ancient Assyrians were a brutal people. They are the fathers of terrorism, the use of terror to accomplish a strategic goal. The Assyrians used terror to make entire cities surrender without a fight. They would mutilate their captives and skin people alive to strike fear in the hearts of their enemies.
Every terrorist, in some way, is linked to the ancient Assyrian.
So the attack was not just a military strike, but a strike of terror. For the second harbinger to manifest in America, there would have to be a strike of terrorism.
Those who were behind 9/11 weren't just soldiers or enemies of America. They were terrorists. They were, in a sense, the children of the Assyrians, the disciples of the ancient Assyrians. They were the modern version of the ancient Assyrian.
That is a very, very, very bold claim.
The ancient Assyrians, they came from the Middle East. The terrorists of 9/11 came from the Middle East as well. When the ancient Assyrians carried out their strike on Israel, they did so in their language. Their language was that of Akkadian.
Okay. What language did they speak?
Akkadian has disappeared from the earth, but there is one language in the world today that is the sister language of Akkadian. That language is Arabic. when the attack of 9/11 was carried out, the language was most similar to the same language that was used to carry out the strike on ancient Israel. And when the attack came on ancient Israel was drawn into a conflict with Assyria. When 9/11 happened, it brought America into a conflict later on in the land of Iraq, the war in Iraq. Iraq is ancient Assyria.
Oh, okay. The war in Iraq. Iraq is ancient Assyria. WTFA. Okay.
So
Alright.
American soldiers were brought to the same land, the very land that planned the attack against ancient Israel. The second harbinger on a nation in danger of judgment is the sign of the terrorist or the sign of the Assyrians. And so to America, it is manifested on September 11th, 2001.
Okay, wow. 9/11 attackers, where are they from? 9/11 attackers. There's Egyptian, right? There's Abdulaziz, Saudi Arabian hijacking. That is insane. Okay, Egyptian too. This is horrible. Listen to this.
Is that American 11 trying to call?
Arabic.
We have some planes that stay quiet and you'll be okay. We're heading to the airport. And who's trying to call me here? American 11, are you trying to call? Nobody knows. Everything is okay. If you're trying to make any moves, just enjoy yourself and the airplane. Let's stay quiet.
Okay, I'm not gonna finish that. Nationality Egyptian. Okay. Oh, that just totally destroyed my mood. Okay, so a lot of Saudi Arabian, United Arab, no, that's, yeah, hijacked is American 7-7, Pentagon, Honey, Saudi Arabian. Yeah, okay, so there's a lot of Saudi Arabian. Man, that's creepy. Okay, that is creepy. Okay, so I think he said attack is behind 9/11. History.com. I guess that's a pretty reliable website. World Trade Center, Osama bin Laden. The hijackers, Islamic terrorists from Saudi Arabia and several other Arab. Stop it, go away. Reportedly financed by Al Qaeda, so they were allegedly acting in retaliation of Israel. Funny they mentioned Israel, huh? Its involvement in the Persian.
The Monster Angus Thick Burger.
Stop it. Okay, alright. Let's go to Google Saudi Arabia. Oh, country in Middle East. That's funny. Saudi Arabia. Well, Iraq is definitely different from Saudi Arabia. We can clearly see that. And then Israel is right there. What language should they speak? Arabic, I believe, which we saw. Arabic. The war in Iraq. Now, why did we go to Iraq? That's funny. There was protracted armed conflict that began in 2003 with the invasion of Iraq by the United States coalition that overthrew the government. Okay. Why did we go to? They intend to remove a regime that developed and used weapons of WMD, mass weapons of mass destruction. Laser X2S. Okay, we went there to remove some stuff. So it began on March 19th, 2003, ended December 15, 11. And it was a failure apparently. Okay. I think it's notable to write when it started and ended 2003. Where was it? On damn, that audio clip just like sent chills down. Like it just ruined my mood. It's creepy. Iraq is ancient Assyria. Is Iraq ancient Assyria? Assyria, kingdom of northern Mesopotamia that became the center of one of the great empires. It was located in what is now northern Iraq and Turkey. Yes. Source. Okay, well, some of the facts check out, right? They're Saudi Arabian, not Iraqi. They do speak Arabic. The war in Iraq, yes, but it does not say necessarily just a result of 9/11, but I think we can assume it is. I'm sure if you do more research. Iraq is ancient Assyria, yes, that's clearly, okay.
Before the revelations can continue, Noriel must find the key that unlocks the rest of the Harbingers. His search takes him to the reading room of the New York Public Library. There, the prophet appears, bearing an ancient parchment with a revelation that will lead to the decoding of the third Harbinger. The third Harbinger is revealed in the very first words of the ancient vow of defiance.
On a third Harbinger. Third Harbinger, 1410.
The bricks have fallen. The first and most visible sign of the Assyrian attack was that of fallen bricks. As the people of Israel emerged after the attack, the most tangible sign of the judgment was that of ruins. Fallen buildings, fallen towers, fallen...
Hey everybody, stop clicking around. I am in the woods with some water going in the background near my house, and in the next 30 seconds I'm going to show you how to use this solar power bank from Ford Patriots to charge two huge devices at the same time. I'm also going to show you how you never have to run out of battery power for your phone ever again.
Isaiah 9:10. 9 verses 10. The bricks have fallen down, but were rebuilt with dressed stone. The fig trees have failed. Okay.
What does it have to do with America? On September 11th, the image that was burned into the hearts of Americans, the most tangible image of 9/11, was that of the falling buildings.
Okay, that's... type, and to test that we're just going to do 9/11. That's it. Go to images. Destruction. Okay. What's about fallen buildings or falling buildings? Fallen buildings, buildings falling. I don't know. I wouldn't say they're falling. I mean, they're wrecked for sure, but I don't think they're falling. They fell over here. They're in ruins. So, well, that's one picture, right? So, not necessarily. How do I spell that? Necessarily. That I get it. Source Google 9/11/201 and click images.
Was that of the ruin heaps, the most graphic image of 9/11 in the wake of the calamity, was the enormous ruin heap at Ground Zero that was burned into our collective consciousness. In other words, the bricks have fallen. The same sign that appeared to ancient Israel as the most graphic manifestation of the warning.
The fourth seal bears the image of what appears to be a tower. The seal is unlocked on the observation deck of the Empire State Building as Noriel and the Prophet overlook the New York skyline. The fourth Harbinger follows the vow of ancient Israel, but we will rebuild.
Okay, this fourth Harbinger, vow of ancient Israel. 1544. He said vow of ancient Israel, and the quote is, but we will rebuild, and this is from Isaiah 9:10. Please pardon my spelling. I'm just doing things kind of quick. If I took my time, you know. I'm actually a perfectionist. I like things to be very accurate, but you know, since we're just going through the thing quick, I'm just sort of typing whatever just to get the idea. What does it say again? The bricks have fallen, but we will replace them. We will rebuild the first stone.
The words become the center of the defiant vow. The nation of Israel embarks on a campaign to rebuild the fallen buildings.
The implication of the vow is that they're going to rebuild bigger and stronger and better than before. They're going to show God and man that they're not going to be humbled. They're coming back stronger. After 9/11, America embarks on a campaign to rebuild. Leaders start saying, we will rebuild, and we'll rebuild stronger than before. And so they embark on a campaign to rebuild Ground Zero, the place of the destruction. Now, rebuilding isn't wrong. The problem is rebuilding without God. It becomes a sign of pride and arrogance.
The ancient words of defiance would specifically manifest in the plan to rebuild Ground Zero. The building would take the form of a tower. It would be a symbol of defiance. This would have to be proclaimed soon after the attack from the United States Senate.
And I believe that one of the first things we should commit to as a country, with federal help, that underscores our nation's purpose, is to rebuild the towers of the World Trade Center and to show the world that we are not afraid, we are defiant.
Oh, he actually says defiant. This guy actually says defiant. This guy actually says defiant. They made a vow in defiance. We are defiant. Oh, bro.
The attack from the United States Senate.
Hold on.
The problem is rebuilding without God becomes a sign of pride and arrogance.
The ancient words of defiance would specifically manifest in the plan to rebuild Ground Zero. The building would take the form of a tower. It would be a symbol of defiance. This would have to be proclaimed soon after the attack from the United States Senate.
And I believe that one of the first things we should commit...
It says Senator John Kerry. Let's go on YouTube. No. Sen John Kerry. Okay, so clearly this guy is real, right? Military force and a date of birth. John Kerry. Former United States Secretary of State.
Commit to as a country, with federal help, that underscores our nation's purpose, is to rebuild the towers of the World Trade Center and to
speech. World Trade Center. Let's go to videos. Holy crap. I couldn't watch that whole video.
Also, a question I have for you.
Okay, well, there's a bunch of videos here which I don't really want to. An hour, I mean, if you guys have some time, just Google this stuff.
This that we're facing around the world as we deploy troops,
and we will win the home field advantage. So that's a given. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your leadership. We are impressed by the quality of your win. It sets a good example. I think I'll follow suit. Not a bad deal. And I want to introduce somebody. I don't know how many of you had a chance to see C-SPAN the other day. But Teresa did a...
it looks, you see the background's different. Which video is this?
The attack from the United States Senate.
And I believe that one of the first things we should commit to as a country, with federal...
I'm looking for something with a similar background to this. So there's like something in the background, right? We can all see that. Where do you get this video from? Senate session, I guess, whatever.
It was a peaceful holiday night in the town. Online sales and savings would surely abound. The
4 airliners and used them as missiles against targets in New York City and in Washington. The House seems to be a bit late.
By unanimous consent, the Senate will now convene, notwithstanding the provisions of Senate Resolution Number 6, adopted January 3, in this year of our...
And our colleagues from New York have most dramatically and compassionately describe what
that was hijacked and crashed into the Pentagon.
So I don't think that all
Biden?
of a sudden there's been a conversion of democratic zeal
Joseph Biden,
on the part of those who are not often thought of as our allies.
He looks so young there.
To resolve with us
today, and the loss that we have felt. And so I want to just take a few minutes to talk about that human
Korea, where 11 people were killed. Prior to 1986, the United States did not have jurisdiction to try terrorists in the United States courts for acts committed overseas.
Senator from Massachusetts is recognized for up to 5 minutes.
Madam President, I thank the chair. I thank my colleague. Madam President, never in the time that I've been here, and perhaps in modern history of the Senate, have any of us come to the floor with such a weight as today, with our hearts literally heavy and aching with the pain of what we have witnessed and what we know so many families are experiencing today, and also with a sense of outrage. The loss of every innocent citizen, of every single person who went to work expecting a normal day, every police officer who put themselves into harm's way, of every fireman who tried to save a life and lost their own, and in the astonishing number of their loss, experience a breach in their special brotherhood and sisterhood that can never be healed, the loss of emergency personnel. These losses are felt by all of us in a very special, personal, and searing way. It's also fair to say that we are all of us heavy with a deep feeling of outrage and resentment. Resentment for the killing of our innocent citizens, for the attack against our country, and for the fear and the panic that we saw in the faces and voices of our people. Children crying, parents, wives, brothers, sons, and daughters waiting for word. Yesterday I was on the phone to the husband and daughter of a woman, a friend, lost at the second flight to penetrate the World Trade Center. The pain and depth of loss in their voices was excruciating, and the helplessness to do anything but to share that pain and offer comfort brought an even deeper sense of anger and of resolve for the acts that have occurred. But it is also critical that all of us remember, as we talk about responses and war against terrorism, that our rhetoric be matched by our actions. If indeed there is a war against terrorism, I remind my colleagues that in a war, the first shots are never the last. The first strike is never the worst. What happened yesterday was terrible and horrendous, but we must prepare ourselves and steel ourselves for the possibility of worse until we achieve our goal. And to do that, we have to be more prepared than we are today. And we have to take the fight wherever we need to, and in ways that we are frankly not yet prepared to. I will say from personal experience that when you're in a war, you don't throw money at the enemy. It's bullets or other actions that are real. We cannot guarantee that some fanatic is not going to find a way to upset civilized order. But we can guarantee that anyone facilitating or associated with such an act will pay the highest price. There are few organizations that could achieve what happened yesterday. We know who they are, we know who supports them, and we should demand that those people cooperate with us in making them, in turning them over to us. But finally, it is important for the world to see that we will go back immediately to the business of a great democracy. We must, all of us, be back at the work of our nation. We must show that our effort to build a better country goes on. The mission of educating our children for full citizenship goes on. The job of making our country stronger goes on. And I believe that one of the first things we should commit to as a country, with federal help that underscores our nation's purpose, is to rebuild the tower.
Oh, Oh. Okay. Alright. Okay. 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 The bricks have fallen. Okay. This is a lot to take in. But we will rebuild. Wow. Ancient age. Wow. Okay. Jeez. US ancient vowel. US vowel. Off to 9/11. The reason why I say vowel is because he's saying what we will do, basically. This is crazy. I will copy this link, whoever wants to.
Of the World Trade Center, and to show the world that we are not afraid, we are defiant. To those,
and he says defiant, bruh.
Those who might say, why create another target? The answer is simple. If we are indeed at war with terrorism, there is no shortage of targets in the United States. There is a White House and a Capitol and countless other tall buildings. This is not a question of targets. It is a question of strength, and of our national resolve to stand up and show our strength. And that is the best monument we could build to those who died yesterday. In Massachusetts, Madam President, help that underscores our nation's purpose is to rebuild the towers of the World Trade Center and to show the world that we are not afraid, we are defiant.
Did say that. Okay, so that checks out. I think we're gonna end the first part here. Okay, let's finish the fourth Harbinger quick, and then we'll carry on part 2. I'll create another part 2. This is crazy.
When you look at the ancient version of the Bible called the Septuagint, this is the first translation made of the Bible. The Septuagint is the Hebrew Bible translated into Greek by rabbis or Jewish sages. When they came to Isaiah 9:10, they did something very interesting. They translated it this way. They said, "The bricks have fallen. Come, let us build for ourselves a tower." What happens after 9/11 is a tower literally starts rising up from the ruins of Ground Zero. This tower is the symbol of America. And where did the ancient rabbis get this phrase, "Come, let us build for ourselves a tower"? They got it from Genesis 11, that speaks of a very famous tower, the Tower of Babel. And they immediately saw the connection between the Tower of Babel, which is a tower that comes up in pride and defiance of God, and what was going to happen with Isaiah 9:10. The warning comes, the strike comes, and the destruction comes, and they respond with the building of a tower, as in the Tower of Babel. So, the fourth harbinger appears in the land, the tower, the most colossal of all harbingers, and the most colossal sign of defiance ever erected on American soil.
Okay. We end at 1835. Part 1 ending 1835. Before I end here, after 9/11, a tower is rising up. So I guess it's talking about the One Trade Center, because it's just one center now. Symbol of America was the tower, the new tower. Just to be sure, what is the symbol of America? Well, that's bald eagle. I don't even know how to say it. Most recognized symbol of America. Apple logo. National anthem, US flag. Red cross. Ancient national symbol. What's national symbol? National fruits. Okay. Not quite sure, so I'm not gonna fully agree over there, right? It says ancient rabbis got it from Genesis 11. What's in Genesis 11? Genesis 11. I always use the New King James, so I'm gonna do that. NK, is it New King James Version? NKJV, where are you? NKJV. Okay, search. Now the whole earth had one language and one speech, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the found the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Come, let us make bricks and make them thoroughly. They used bricks and they spoke for more than they said. Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name of ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad. Well, there it is. Genesis 11:4. Genesis 11:4 says that, and then link source. Do that and paste it here. Now Tower of Babel. Let's Google that. Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel narrative in Genesis is an origin myth meant to explain why the world's people speak different languages according to history. I don't know if it's a myth. Or did they actually find the location?
Families do fall on hard times. You have to decide whether you buy groceries or you put money on the light bill. Do you power your house? Do you heat your house? Or do you put food in your kid's stomach?
The Tower of Babel was the world's first skyscraper, as well as a symbol of the might and hubris of the ancient city of Babylon.
Babylon.
The enormous building mentioned in the Bible has fascinated generation upon generation, although everyone has their own image of what it once looked like. Historians have only been able to agree on one thing: the tower was said to reach up to the sky. Herodotus, the father of history, described this symbol of Babylon as a wonder of the world. The Tower of Babel stood at the very heart of the vibrant metropolis of Babylon in what is today Iraq. It was a city of open open squares, broad boulevards, and narrow winding lanes. But the city of cities, as Babylon was known by the ancients, eventually fell into ruin, and the residents of Babylon plundered the Tower of Babel and used its bricks to build their own houses. Long ago, the once mighty Babylon and its gargantuan tower sunk into the sands of the Iraqi desert and disappeared. Archaeologists have been working ceaselessly and successfully since 1811 to excavate the capital of the ancient world. It was aerial photography, however, that provided the first real clues as to the location of the tower. The photographs show the tower's square-shaped outline in the center of the city. Today, nothing remains but a watering hole. The tower was said to be almost 100 meters tall and was dedicated to Babylon's own god, Marduk. But even he was powerless to save this once mighty city.
Dang, this is crazy, bro. Okay, wow, tower. So it's real, dude. Wow. Dude. Oh, dude, you can literally see it from like so far up. Holy crap, dude, this, wow. Okay, before we end, holy crap. Earth, Google Earth, yes, Google Earth. Jeez. Google Earth. Launch Google Earth. We're basically done with YouTube. I don't know about you guys, but like my heart is sort of racing right now. Wow. Okay. Okay, wow, that is crazy. Look how far you can see it from like here. I don't know how far this is, but that is far. Look at that. Okay, mind blown, mind blown, mind blown. Here's the link, guys. I think this is a good place to end. We learned a lot. There's a scripture over here somewhere about the Tower of Babel. Let me just include that in the notes quick. Tower of Babel scripture, Genesis. Let's go to New King James Version or something. I mean, yeah, New King James Version. Now you can tell I'm so out of it. This is crazy. I mean, I'm not trying to push anything on anybody, but facts is facts. This. If you can show me another book that has been written so long ago that he's so accurate, and you can still see evidence from today, like, let me know in the comments. But honestly, I don't know of any other. Okay, so the Tower of Babel says, now the whole earth had one language and one speech, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they in the land of Shinar. They found a plain. Oh shit. Shinar. Okay, so this is sort of, see if I can zoom in. So this is sort of Israel, right? This Jerusalem. Stop. Let's go to maps. Let's go to Google Earth because it's more immersive. Oh, this is craziness. Let's go to Israel. Let's go to 2D. Okay, Israel's over here. Right? That's where Israel is. So this closes the kingdom of... Where is the Shinar they talk of? Jerusalem, Damascus, Ugarit, Tadmor, Haran, Mari, land of Shinar. What do you mean? Is this the whole land of Shinar? I know I should probably read the text, but I don't feel like reading it. You guys can, you guys can probably do that. So Shinar, you can do that and let me know what you find. Babylonia. Okay, it was in Babylonia. We know that because that's what it said. Babylon. So this whole Babylonia at the time of Hammurabi. So which is this whole place. I want a clearer view. I want a clearer view than this. Is this? Yeah, this looks the Babylonian Empire. Okay, so there we go. Something we can reference. So there's this, right? This area right there, which is this area, I believe, because Egypt is right there. This is Egypt. Cairo, we all know Cairo. So we're looking at this area, right? Okay. New Babylonia era, it goes up to the Persian Gulf. Up to the Persian Gulf, okay. So this whole area. Now, Where's this Tower of Babel? Tower of Babel. Holy crap. Persian Gulf. It's literally right in the middle. Dude. Because, okay, this is the Persian Gulf we saw over here, right? There's Damascus and all that stuff, right? Babylonia was this area, because that area is the Persian Gulf. I want something clear that's not like Babylonia, right? This whole area. There's the Persian Gulf, this Africa, right? So it's this, it's still there. It's still like, I'm trying to make it look wrong, but I cannot. It's on point. It's accurate. It's accurate, dude. Shinar. Okay, it's saying this is Shinar. Persian Gulf. Still, like... Wow. Okay. And this is freaking Genesis, dude. Come, let us make... so the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Then they said to one another, come, let us make bricks, and let us take a name for it. They scattered the whole earth. But the Lord came down, tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, indeed the people are on the earth. Come, let us go down, and they're confused, their language that they may not understand one. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all of the earth, and they ceased to building this city. Therefore its name was called Babel, because the Lord confused the language of all earth. I have one more language tree. Let's look at the language tree timeline. Okay, looks like there's one common language, right? Indo-European. From that came Indo-Iranian, Balto-Slavic, German, and Italic. So those are the like 4 branches. Okay, let's find somewhere else. Proto-Indo-European, same thing. Let's go over here. That image is, you know what? Tools. Size, large. Proto-Germanic. Okay, this looks like it's the German tree. Time I don't care about English. I just want to see like when was the very beginning. When did 8,700? It's crazy. This is the source right here, right? It's split. Anyways, okay. Well, those are the facts. You guys can research those facts further. Okay, that's interesting. Well, there we have it. If you guys, let me know what you guys think, right in the comments.